Okay, welcome to See What She Can Do Conversations, the podcast. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Caroline Wiley.
Salut, hello.
We're here today with Jessica Lewis, who's a two-time Wheelchair Paralympian. She is currently training for Tokyo. We all know it's been pushed into 2021. And while Jessica represents Bermuda, she has a very special connection with Canada. That special connection happens to be Coach Curtis, and we're happy to have him here as well today. So welcome, Curtis and Jessica.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's great.
Yes, thank you.
Now, Jessica's a force to be reckoned with, and despite living anything but a typical life, Jessica shares her story to the world so that she can inspire people to go for great. So we're super excited to speak with you, Jessica. We've heard all kinds of great things about you, and I know that many, many years ago, actually it wasn't that long ago, probably a few years ago while I was at the soccer field, I had the joy of watching some people speeding around the track in Mississauga. I understand that's where you train. And it was pretty cool to watch. So we're excited to hear about your sport. We're excited for you to share your story and to talk with you and Curtis around this great collaboration between Bermuda and Canada.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to start things off. Jess, what I would love for you to share is help us understand your journey through sport. Help us understand how sport has, influenced your life, influenced who you are, and how you've, dealt with the physical challenges that you face every day.
Yeah, definitely. So I was born with a disability called diastematomylia. It's a bit of a mouthful, but basically I had a bone pierce the bottom of my spine, which split my spine in half, and that left me paralyzed from the waist down, needing to use a wheelchair for mobility full time. So I've always been involved in sports. My first sport that I got involved with was actually swimming at the age of 2. I was splashing in a puddle next to a pool where my older sister, was having a swimming lesson. And the instructor, her name was also Jackie, came over to my mom and asked if I swam. And after explaining that I wasn't able to use my legs, Jackie said, that doesn't matter, I can teach her. And I ended up swimming without armbands at the age of 3. And then I got involved in an incredible organization called Windreach Bermuda. And there's actually a Windreach farm in Canada. And they offer a variety of different programs for people with disabilities. And I just got involved in so many sports through them, including like wheelchair basketball, wheelchair tennis, bocce ball. And, sport just gave me a way to, accept who I was and accept that I was going to be living my life in my wheelchair. And it really just gave me a lot of confidence in who I was and allowed me to, learn new skills and meet new people who were, facing some of the similar challenges that I was.
Okay, I do have a question for you because I'm Italian by nature, and I used to head out to the beach every weekend with my crazy Italian family, and I had uncles that would take their belts out and measure like the distance. They're very hyper competitive between bocce balls and to see which one was closer, which one was farther. So my question for you, without ever having seen wheelchair bocce ball, which I think would probably be amazing too, do you guys like pull off like strings and belts and stuff to measure, or do you how does that work?
I definitely think so. I mean, I don't participate in it as much now, but Bermuda, we do have a growing group of individuals that have competed around the world in bocce ball, and I can tell you that they're very sticklers for, even just that little centimeter, making sure that, the measurement is correct.
Oh, and you must have just a paradise of places to play those kinds of games. Like, you just have such a beautiful country. Amazing. Yeah. That's awesome. And, tell us a little bit about how your love of movement led you to your career choice and your education. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, so I attended Brock University. I was kind of on the extended version, as I call it, because I was doing a light course load just to balance school as well as training to compete at the Paralympic Games. So I attended Brock University, where I studied therapeutic recreation in their recreation and leisure department. And Brock was such an incredible school. I absolutely loved my experience there. The professors were absolutely amazing, and they really helped to foster that balance between school life and being an athlete. And just growing up through Windreach, and the impact that sport and just recreational activities had in my life and giving me confidence. I wanted to be able to pay that forward. And I think as a person with a disability, being in that role as well, I can kind of give, my firsthand experience of being, an athlete as well as just participating in sports. And other recreational activities. So therapeutic recreation is all about using functional interventions and education to help people with, maybe physical limitations, social limitations, anything in that kind of general direction to, improve their quality of life and to really enjoy their leisure ultimately.
Well, and certainly just having walked it, you can walk the talk and have that tremendous amount of empathy and compassion with your patients. How do you think being an Olympic athlete, and the lessons that you've learned being a wheelchair racer, how do you bring that to your life and to your professional career?
Definitely. One of the biggest things that sport has taught me is to not focus on what my limitations are. And I find, especially with the profession that I'm in, the group of individuals that we're working with, people with disabilities or other varying illnesses or diseases, a lot of them are always seen for what their limitations are. Right. And I'm always trying to see them for what they are capable of doing and pushing them, to expand even their own ideas of what they can accomplish. So I definitely try to take that with me whenever I'm with somebody. Yeah.
Well, you embody the whole notion of see what she can do, right? I mean, that's kind of why we started what we did. First of all, we feel it's super important that everybody can see themselves out in the media, so they have something to aspire to. I remember, Coach Curtis, we're going to bring you in here shortly. I remember reading your bio online and seeing how you were inspired by, some Paralympian or some games, some elite level games and athletes. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. But I mean, so we love that. So thank you, Jessica, for, helping people see what they literally can do and by encouraging them to move forward. You speak sometimes in your public speaking around life lessons. And I think you had said there were 6 life lessons that can help people. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about those life lessons and how that might be able to inspire others?
Yeah. So when I give speeches, I like to kind of relate how my experiences may help other people. So I've come up kind of with my 6 life lessons, as I call them. So the first being just believing in yourself. That's something that's so important no matter what you're doing in your life. That's something that you're always going to have in order to, go after your dreams and fight through adversity and fight through other people's perceptions on who you are or what you can accomplish. Another one is about grabbing opportunities. And this kind of means, not being afraid to take chances and to take risks and to maybe take an opportunity that you might not think will work out for you because you never know where it might lead you. Another one is about giving back to others. And that's so important because I've had so many people in my life help me get to where I am today. And it's all about paying that forward and helping others see what they can do.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's kind of the really important ones that I love to talk about. Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's inspiring just to listen to you speak because, you know, there's nothing one person can't do, you know, regardless of where you find yourself in life. It's really inspiring to hear what you have to say.
And it's a beautiful segue into Coach Curtis because, you know, I know kudos to Coach Curtis and his late father, Ken, who actually introduced you to your Olympic sport. And we want to uncover a little bit the impact that they've both made on your life and how they came to see you in the lovely country of Bermuda. So do you want to give us a little bit of an overview, Jessica, on how you all met and the impact they've made on your life? And then we'll jump into Coach Curtis and open up the mic to him.
Okay, perfect. I met Curtis and Ken, I believe it was 2006. We were talking about this yesterday when we were preparing for this. And we were a little bit hazy on the date, but I'm pretty sure it was 2006. Windreach held a sports expo, and they brought down coaches and athletes from Canada and the States just to showcase to Bermuda, you know, the different para sports that were available to us. So that we could kind of pick a sport and see if we wanted to, you know, train and become elite level athletes. So that's where I met Curtis and Ken. And Curtis actually, and they both brought down an old racing chair from one of the other athletes that Ken was coaching at the time. And this chair, it was a little too big for me. And I just remember sitting in it and going around the track and, you know, seeing how fast Curtis could go and him helping me to learn the sport. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. And very, very fortunate that Ken, you know, offered to coach me. So our journey kind of started from there. And I started competing internationally in 2010. So there was a few years that I wasn't 100% sure what sport I wanted to excel in or to train in. But kind of that's where our journey started.
Wow.
So clearly, Curtis, you've had quite the impact on your life for sport because I think I read, is this right, that you started at the age of 2? Is that true?
I started sport at the age of 6 playing sledge hockey.
Okay. Oh, I love sledge hockey. I was introduced to sledge hockey a couple of years ago?
Yes.
With the national women's team.
Yes.
Came out.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, awesome. So the true Canadian sport, you're playing sledge hockey. Awesome.
Yeah. So started that when I was 6. My parents got me into that. I kind of guess they were a little sick with my hyperness, I guess. So they wanted to put me into a sport.
You just wanted to get moving.
Levels down. So yeah, started that when I was 6. I actually seen wheelchair racing on TV in '96. It was the Atlanta Olympics. They did a demo race, and it was televised. And I kind of looked at my parents after watching that race, and I go, I want to do that.
Wow.
Speed.
And
speed. Imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Forget the gliding. I'm going to go for all that speed. That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. What I was thinking, I'm like, I want to go fast. That's all I was thinking. And I looked to my parents and I want to do that. And they figured out how to get a chair, how to get me involved in it. And since I was 10, I was in the sport for 22 years, I think it was.
Amazing.
Wow.
And 16 of that was on the Canadian national team.
Now, how did your dad get to coaching at that elite level? Was it through kind of helping you on your journey, or how did that happen?
So my dad was my coach in my younger years, just getting me into the sport type thing. I think, I'm not 100% sure because I was young and I'm forgetful, but we attended a track meet. I think it was out in Ottawa, and we met another coach there that kind of mentored my dad and helped him along, and helped me progress into my sport more. And he actually turned into my full-time coach later on in my years. And my dad kind of like overseen my training at that time because of the distance of my coach and myself, and
kind of work together.
Just,
yeah,
that's amazing.
Kind of work together, talk back and forth. And
okay, how fast can you guys go on those chairs?
Well,
what's the fastest speed you can get to on them?
Jess, you wanna?
Yeah, I think the fastest I've ever gone on a track was probably 31 kilometers an hour.
Oh my gosh.
And on a roller, which is kind of like a treadmill idea for the racing chair, which we train on in the winter.
Yep.
I've hit 36, I think, but that does not compare at all to what Curtis can hit.
Oh, Curtis, you're being shy. Tell us what you can hit.
So, on the track, I've hit, I think, 35 or 36 kilometers an hour.
It's amazing.
Wow.
But on a treadmill, I've hit 47.
It's amazing. So explain to us maybe a little bit what it looks like. So for people that have never seen it before, like what are you using to propel yourself? What does the bike look like? We've got a couple of minutes before our break, so maybe one of you can jump in and just describe for the listeners what it looks like.
You want to take that one, Curtis?
Oh, sure. I guess I can. I've always told someone it looks kind of like a funny car, those big, long drag racing cars.
Oh, yeah.
Just with one wheel in the front.
It's very true. Yes.
Because, well, my chair is 6 feet, I think, or just over 6 feet long, from back wheel to front wheel.
Okay.
So that's always what I would explain it as, a funny drag car.
And Jessica, how would you describe kind of the momentum and how it works?
Yeah, so the push that we use in the racing chair is a lot different than a push that you would use in a regular everyday chair. And also the equipment is a little bit different. So in a regular everyday chair, the individual would just grip the wheel and push it forward. Whereas in a racing chair, we actually have racing gloves on our hands. There's two different styles of racing gloves that you can have. One is a soft glove, which actually encases your whole hand, and you kind of have a strap behind it that holds your hand kind of in a fist. And you're actually punching the push rim on the wheel instead of gripping it, so that your hands can be really fast and come off of the rim quickly. And then the other style of glove, which actually I just transitioned into using a lot more athletes who are at the elite level will use what's called a hard glove. And this is a little bit of a smaller surface. So your push has to be very, very consistent. And the glove is made usually of a hard plastic. The ones that I'm using are made from a 3D printer, actually. Those, you just kind of grip it. There's not a lot of strapping. So a bit of your hand is out. So you definitely have to be aware of where the push rim is so you don't jam your hand.
Amazing.
But Yeah.
Very cool. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will come right back and speak to both of you about some practical tips on how you can follow your dreams, especially during COVID. And then we're going to dig a bit deeper into kind of the impact of coaching and mentorship on athletes and people as a whole. So we'll be right back. As a result of COVID-19, leaders around the world are facing some of the most challenging situations they've ever experienced. In times like these, the ability to be resilient is really paramount. David Patchell Evans is the founder and CEO of Good Life Fitness, and he's learned firsthand in his 41 years running his business about the importance of resilience. He's created a free habit-building 21-day experience to help leaders bounce back. Check out goodlifefitness.com, where they have a blog, and this is where you can get your free digital guide.
We're back now, and wondering, what you've shared with us has been just amazing, What has been your secret sauce, perhaps, to keep going, to follow the dreams that you have in spite of all of the obstacles you've faced over the years?
One of probably the biggest thing is that I've surrounded myself, and I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by some really incredible people that are acting as, a support network that can, help keep me motivated on the days where, I don't want to get up and train, or a session is too hard or anything like that. And I really lucked out meeting Curtis and Coach Ken. Unfortunately, we did lose Coach Ken in 2017 when he suddenly passed away. And that was definitely a huge hit to all of us. And there were so many people. He was involved with football, coaching football as well. And just the amount of people that his life impacted was just absolutely phenomenal. And, Ken just believed in anybody and everybody, and really pushed them to excel and be all that they could be. And then through Ken, I met Curtis, and I met my amazing teammates, Austin, Nan, and Isaiah. And then we also met Lisa Myers, who is another coach that stepped in to help coach the rest of my team who are on the Canada team.
Right.
So, just having that incredible support system behind me has been absolutely phenomenal. And I'm just so grateful for everything that they've done for me. And I think that's probably one of the most important things that you can find in your life is those people. And I know a lot of people, are not fortunate enough to have that in a family setting like I do. And in those moments, I think it's so important to seek that elsewhere, and to really try and believe in your dream, and know that if people don't believe in it, it's on them. It's nothing to do with you or your ability to achieve it.
Wow.
Great advice.
And now, Curtis, I'm interested in understanding your dad's ongoing interest in coaching people from Team Bermuda. Like, how does that work? Is it common that a coach from Canada would, train someone from a different country? Or was there a special connection made when you guys went over to Bermuda and were showing people, your sport? How does that work?
Yeah, the people actually do train other athletes from other countries, I guess. I've seen it a few different times. But with Jess, I guess it was I don't know the word to explain it, I guess. Interesting situation. But we, like Jess said, we met back in 2006, we think. And yeah, like, I guess, I don't know, Jess, you want to jump in here and
You'll have to elaborate on interesting here. Now you've got her interest piqued.
Well, it's just hard, like, because wheelchair sport is a very specific type of sport, right?
Sure.
And the knowledge isn't just readily out there for
Mm-hmm.
anyone to understand it and be able to coach, right? So
Right.
with the years of my dad coaching me and being mentored by another coach, he just had the knowledge of it, and I guess took on Jess to help her achieve her dreams.
Yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
especially like, sorry,
Go ahead.
especially coming from Bermuda, we're such a small country here. Like Curtis said, we don't really have the resources or the knowledge of a lot of different para sports. So just having, Ken and Curtis coming down to the sports expo just shows how big their hearts are and how big they want to see, the sport progress and to help, anybody or any athlete from anywhere excel.
Right. For you, Jess, do you have any aspirations for coaching and having that ability to mentor as a coach?
Yeah, I think that might be in my future. Right now I cannot see, my future just yet outside of being an athlete.
Of course.
But I definitely think that that's probably a possibility.
That's great.
Okay, so we're going to ask you both about your mantra, maybe words that you would say you live by. Jess, you've got some beautiful words on your website. So we'll come to you second. We're going to jump to Curtis first. Curtis, if somebody asked you what your mantra was and the words that you live by, what would they be?
Well, I live by two sayings, and actually Jess kind of touched on the one earlier, is believe in yourself, and also live your dreams. Both I strongly believe in because of my sports, just pushing yourself to your limits and learning about yourself and believing in yourself to be able to achieve those goals you set out for.
Amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah.
Love it. How about you, Jess?
Yeah, one of my biggest ones is kind of the title of the episode. Dream, believe, and overcome. And those are just things in my life that have really helped me to commit to the sport and believe that I had enough strength within me to become an elite level athlete, and to not be afraid to go after a big dream. Paralympic and Olympic game dreams are huge, massive dreams that can scare a lot of people. And I mean, it still scares me, and I've been to two of them. But it's kind of creating those stepping stones or those little milestones that you want to meet to get to your big goal, so that you can kind of celebrate along the way when you reach those smaller goals, as well as learn. And one of the things that Ken always talked about was one of my favorite things that I'll never forget. He always said was, we plan the work and we work the plan. If the plan doesn't work, we never change the goal, but we change the plan,
I love
or
that.
something along those lines.
It's perfect.
And
And
yeah,
we need
it's
that
so
today
true.
during all this crazy pandemic stuff, right? Like to just be able to change the plan to keep going for our goals.
Right. Right. Stay
for sure.
focused. And that leads to another question. The whole notion of cross country or, between country cooperation. What do you think that, that's a big deal. And how do you think that between country cooperation has influenced the success that Bermuda, or certainly for yourself, Jess, has experienced as in the Olympics?
Yeah. The most incredible thing that I love about sport is that it brings so many people together. When you're at the Paralympic Games, you're seeing different countries sitting at the same table eating. And it's an amazing, amazing thing to see. And, everybody's love of sport just brings us together. And I'm so fortunate, that Canada has really opened up their arms to me, and Athletics Canada with Carla, and Rick as well, who are two coaches for Athletics Canada, have really, opened it up to include me and everything. I've been to a lot of their national team training camps, and I actually went with them for their pre-training camp before World Championships. And that's what it's all about, bringing countries together. And, when we hit that start line, yes, we are definitely different countries.
Yeah.
But when we are working together and, going for similar goals and wanting to help each other, that's absolutely a phenomenal thing to be a part of. And for Lisa Myers, who has also stepped in to help coach my teammates for Canada, it got a little bit tricky with that being said. So Curtis stepped in to be Bermuda's coach. But we all still work as one massive group. And it's just phenomenal to see, the collaborations, and it's so important.
The sum of the parts is fantastic. For you, Curtis, what are your thoughts on your role as coach of Bermuda as a Canadian?
I don't know. I find it fun.
Yeah. No, that's great.
So who are you rooting for when you're watching the games? Are you rooting for Canada? I'm hoping you're rooting for Bermuda, but there must be a little bit of red in there too,
I think he has a flag in each hand. I'm just saying.
There's always been this joke with Jess and I about that, actually, because we, as Bermuda's track team is very small, which is Jess.
Yeah.
Small in stature, big in heart.
Exactly.
So what we're able to actually have a little bit more input on, I guess, the uniform for Bermuda. And Jess was always like, we can sew a Canadian flag on the inside of your jacket.
I love it.
And we haven't done it yet.
No.
So, but
we won't tell anybody if you end up doing it.
It's always been that little thing, and
that's amazing.
That's great.
Obviously, I'm always rooting for Jess when we're out there on the field, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for Canada athletes. So it's hard to sometimes when you have Canadian competitors in with Jess, you want to see them both do well.
Yeah,
sure, of course. Ultimately, that's the key, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh,
yeah. No, it's amazing to see that. I think it's such an amazing example for so many other countries to follow suit, because it really, everyone wins at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. So we're going to close this off with a question that we ask most of our guests during this crazy time, and that is, the intention of this question is to help people be inspired to do some fun things for a mental and physical health standpoint during this crazy pandemic. So our question is, what are you doing during this pandemic to keep yourself moving? And I know, obviously, Jess, you're probably doing some training, but are there other things that you're doing, to both of you guys, to keep yourselves moving and, kind of mentally and physically healthy during this pandemic?
Yeah. Well, I love to swim as well. So that's one thing that I'm doing. And here in Bermuda, we're lucky that we can kind of swim for the majority of the year. It does get a little bit colder, and when we see people swimming when Bermudians aren't, we're like, oh, they must be Canadian.
Exactly. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
That's funny. How about you, Curtis?
Nothing really.
That's okay.
No, I've since retiring, I actually picked up a hand cycle and have been doing that a little bit here and there.
That's great.
Indoors?
Yeah, I've got a bike trainer, a stationary bike trainer that I can attach it to.
Yeah,
perfect.
But also I go outdoors with it. Been on bike rides with my nephew a couple times. I used to train. We used to actually, Jess and I would leave from my house to go to the track for training in the summertime. So we would bike, and she would push down to the track, do our workout, and then push back as her cool down. So it was kind of like a warm up and cool down.
Sure.
And I would cycle with her, you know, down to the track, do her workout with her, and then cycle back. And so that actually kept me in pretty decent shape, having to chase her the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Now, is there,
since retiring,
is there any,
I've,
oh, sorry, go ahead. Since retiring.
well, since retiring, I've, you know, lost a little bit of the muscle and gained a little bit more of fluff, I would say.
I like the way you put
Jess,
that.
you need to come back to Canada so we can start chasing you. Now, what
So
I was,
it was nice that I was able to get out there with Jess and still be active in a different way.
yeah,
Sure,
well,
sure.
it's amazing that it was your sport too, right? I was going to ask if, just in our last minute, is there a winter version? Like, you know, you can do fat biking and stuff. Is there a fat bike kind of version of winter? Like, I mean, clearly you don't need it in Bermuda, but maybe here in Canada, is there like a winterized version?
No,
I don't think
not
so.
for track. No, because of how the chairs are built, they're very streamlined, very the measurements are very close, right? There's not much adjustment you can do. Like, you can't really put, you know, big fat winter tires on because there's no room
Not a lot of wiggle
within
room.
the frame.
Right.
Yeah.
So it really is a summer sport, and then you train indoors for winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Or you go to nice warm places.
I was
Yes,
going to
exactly.
say, I think there's, once the borders open up and the countries, you know, start to get this thing under control, I think we need to go do a tour of Bermuda and see what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Well,
You're more than welcome.
thank
thank
you.
you.
Jessica and Curtis, thank you so much for spending the time with us. We had a fantastic call. Thank you for bringing the sunshine into our cold country right now, although we've had lots of sunshine lately, so we're pretty grateful for that. Yep. And thank you, Curtis, for all you and your dad did to inspire people across our oceans.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been tremendous.
Well,
Thank you
so
for having us.
Have a great day.
Take care.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.